Tonight, we analyze the economic and social impact of the Tinubu agenda. On the program tonight is Senator Ayo Arishe, who will be joining me in a moment as we evaluate the Tinubu agenda, reform, reality, and the Nigerian people. But first, let's bring you some political developments across the nation. We start off with judicial matters as the Federal High Court in Abuja affirmed the Nemadi Usman-led caretaker committee as a legitimate leadership of the Labour Party. Justice Peter Alifu based his ruling on the Supreme Court judgments delivered on the 4th of April, which recognized Nemadi Usman as a valid leader of the party. Senior reporter Lesina Area has details.
The court's ruling put to rest the leadership dispute within the Labour Party. Justice Peter Alifu ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to recognize the Nemadi Usman-led caretaker committee as the party's valid leadership pending the conduct of a national convention. The suit was filed by Nemadi Usman against INEC, with Julius Abure and the Nigerian Labour Congress listed as defendants. In his judgment, the court held that evidence before it showed that Julius Abure's tenure as national chairman of the Labour Party had expired. Justice Alifu dismissed Abure's argument that the matter was an internal party affair and therefore not justiciable, ruling instead that the appointment of a caretaker committee was necessitated, arising from the directive of the Supreme Court. Julius Abure had earlier been removed as national chairman by the party's National Executive Committee following a prolonged leadership crisis. In response, the party constituted a 29-member caretaker committee chaired by former Minister of Finance, Nemadi Usman. That decision followed an expanded stakeholders meeting held in Umuahia and hosted by Abia State Governor Alex Otti. The meeting was chaired by the party's 2023 presidential candidate, Peter Obi. Dissatisfied, Abure approached the Federal High Court insisting he was duly elected acting national chairman in March 2021 and later emerged national chairman at the party's convention in Inewi in March 2024. While both the Federal High Court and the Court of Appeal initially ruled in Abure's favor, those decisions were overturned by the Supreme Court, which nullified the judgment of the two lower courts. Reacting to the ruling, Counsel to the Labour Party welcomed the decision, describing it as a reaffirmation of the Supreme Court's authority. The judgment effectively confirms the Nemadi Usman-led caretaker committee as the recognized leadership of the Labour Party, pending a fresh national convention.
The party's NEC statutory members, led by Dr. Alex Otti, who is the highest statutory member of NEC, having being the man who is holding the highest political office on behalf of the party, they came together and resolved to vest their leadership in Dr. Esther Nemadi Usman as chairman of their National Caretaker Committee to help and facilitate a proper national convention. For the avoidance of doubt, the court also ordered that INEC should, as a matter of fact, recognize every correspondence from Dr. Nemadi Usman as the valid and the only recognized chairman of Labour Party.
The Supreme Court had upheld the appeal filed by the chairman and secretary of the caretaker committee, while it dismissed the cross appeal filed by Julius Abure. In the lead judgment prepared by Justice Ian Okoro, the court held that members of political party should always abide by the Constitution, guiding the party and political officers whose tenure has elapsed to endeavor to vacate office. Celestina Iria, TVC News, Abuja.
And as a follow-up to that story, the Julius Abure faction of the Labour Party has announced plans to appeal the Federal High Court judgments, describing it as inconsistent with an existing Supreme Court ruling. The party's National Publicity Secretary, Obiora Ifo, argued that the Supreme Court had clearly stated that courts cannot impose leadership on political parties, as such matters are internal affairs. He also claimed the faction was denied the opportunity to respond to counter-affidavits before judgment was delivered. The faction urged party members to remain calm, assuring them that all legal options would be pursued to protect the party's interests. Let's take a short break, everyone, and I'll be right back.
This week, Nigeria's political space is abuzz, from heated debates on the floor of the National Assembly to high-profile meetings behind closed doors and high-stakes decisions with unexpected twists that impact us all. It's been a week full of headlines and heated moments. Join us on Politics on Sunday, where we cut through the noise and dive deep into the issues that matter most, helping you make a sense of it all. From the corridors of power to the streets where it all plays out, we've got you covered, because politics doesn't stop, and neither do we. Stay informed, stay engaged, and be part of the conversation. Politics on Sunday, every Sunday at 7 p.m. only on TVC News.
Breaking news isn't just about speed, but more importantly, about fact and accuracy. It is responsible journalism, being ahead, unbiased, sensitive, in telling the stories that people would want to hear in a way that protects their sanity and for the public good. And it goes beyond breaking the news to actually following up, exploring all the angles, engaging newsmakers, tracking impact, all geared towards informing, educating, and setting agenda for the people. Breaking news is holistic, entire, complete. It's about you, me, and the world we live in. Breaking news is at the core of what we do at TVC News, and it's the honor of my life to serve you this news, fresh off the press.
TVC News, first with breaking news.
I write to request the kind approval of the National Assembly.
Behind every decision, every vote,
The ayes have it.
and every heated debate lies the heartbeat of democracy.
This matter is very, very important.
I therefore rule you out of order.
Welcome to the place where it all unfolds. Every week, I take you inside the inner workings of the assembly, where laws are shaped, decisions are made, and the future of the nation is decided.
The ayes have it.
Join me, Tijesu Adeoye, and other seasoned experts, analysts, and lawmakers at the National Assembly
as they uncover the real stories behind the headlines and offer unfiltered insight on the most pressing issues of the day.
This is your front row seat to the heart of power.
Watch the Hallowed Chambers every Saturday at 9 p.m. only on TVC News.
Thank you for staying with us, everyone. Tonight, we turn our focus on Nigeria under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's watch, a period marked by sweeping economic reforms, tough policy decisions and choices, and intense national debate. From fuel subsidy removal to currency reforms and the cost of living, Nigerians are asking hard questions about leadership. They're asking about direction and the road ahead as we prepare for the next general elections in 2027. To help us unpack these critical issues, assess the administration's performance so far, and explore what this means for the future of this country, I'm joined by seasoned politician and technocrat from Ekiti State, former Senator for Ekiti North and the chieftain of the ruling All Progressives Congress. I guess tonight is Senator Ayo Arishi. Senator, good evening to you. Thank you very much for joining me on the program. Good to have you, sir.
Good evening. Nice to be here. Jumake?
Yes.
I got that right.
Yes, you got that right. Thank you very much. All right.
Nice speaking with you. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us as well. So let's get to business. First, because, when this government came into power, fuel subsidy removal was a cornerstone of the Tinubu agenda. 2 years down the line, we're counting down to year 3, and Nigerians are asking, what concrete economic benefits has it delivered so far? How has government revenue changed as a result? Where are the savings being directed? How does this decision strengthen Nigeria's fiscal future? How has this decision bettered our lives? These are some of the questions some Nigerians are asking. 2 years down the line, Senator Arishi, is the nation better for it?
As far as I'm concerned, from my own position as a business person, I will say that the decision of the president has benefited a host of Nigerians. It has been able to move our economic growth, positively. We've been able to realize that through so many statistics that we're having in the polity. First of all, we know that our what to call inflation has come down, drastically, and we have seen that we've had money to fund institutions like NEL Fund, and of course now the president does not want anybody to say I'm unable to go to school because of school fees. The NEL Fund has come to the rescue of many people who otherwise would not have been able to complete or even start their education in the tertiary institutions. We might take some of these things for granted, but we can notice that since the president came in, prior to President Tinubu becoming president, we noticed there were instances that students in a 4-year program at the university will end up staying like 6 years, 5 years, 6 years. But since the president came, I don't think we've witnessed any significant down tool by either the ASU or even the workers' union, as the case might be. And we've seen people going to school and graduating after 4 years. This was the basis of many people, or what we call brain drain from Nigeria. That has been significantly arrested because people know that when they start school now, they can finish in 4 years, just like their colleagues that have gone abroad to go for study. And that is one aspect. There is funding now for local governments. The president has insisted that the local government funds should stay with the local government for developmental purposes so that the grassroots development and the people in government, the local government, will be more meaningful in terms of their impact on people that live in the rural areas, and that is where you have the majority of the population. Now, when you look at urban-rural migration, things like this, providing jobs in at the local government level, ensuring that we can see some development, maybe roads, tarring, hospital management. Even now, I think the schools will have to go back to the local government, so that at least the primary schools, so that the local government can actually fund, the schools and the institutions, and the people that they are answerable to can ask questions. But right now, when you ask a question from somebody running the local government, they will just put their hands up, oh, we don't get the money. We only get a few millions every month. And they can't do anything, they can't do much. Now, the president has broken that jinx. And it's the practicality and ensuring that this happens in the local government that is tackling. The last outing of Mr. President was very clear. Let the local government people have their money. And this money now has become meaningful because of some of the benefits we've been able to derive from the subsidy, the subsidy removal. And that regime was, that regime was only benefiting a few people. And if it had been benefiting the genuine people alone, it would not have been much of a problem. But there were people who would just go and import or pretend like they have imported, bring documents to Nigeria, collect subsidy, and take off. Some of them will have ships on the high seas. The ships will disappear to other countries, the neighboring countries. Some of them, the ships will actually practically disappear into the heavens. We won't see them. And of course, we could remember so many instances. Now, stopping that took a lot of courage, and it's only a courageous man that could have effected that and stood by his policies and ensured that whatever the shortcomings were corrected. And we are still on it. It has not given up. And some of this subsidy money is being diverted into other areas of development in the country. I happen to know that even in the solid mineral sector, where will be the next frontier of generation of revenue for the country, there are refineries, that is maybe mineral refinery facilities being created to assist the artisanal miners to process their products for export. There are so many things that the president has been able to have more money to do that has impact, on the society than people actually care to admit. And some of this, I believe, as a businessman and as a politician, if we do get some benefits, it's good enough for people to speak out and say, yes, things are better,
yes.
than
Senator,
when we were paying for subsidies.
Now, let me just, continue from where you stopped, because rightly said, you've just spoken as a politician and a businessman. And this is you just reeled out this administration's achievements in the last 2 years. But poor Nigerians talk about hunger. Which matters more?
I think I probably lost you.
Okay, please let me repeat myself.
Let me see if I can get somebody to...
Let me repeat myself. Can you hear me clearly, Senator?
No, I can't. It's the earpiece that is giving me some little challenges here.
Okay.
But if I can hear your question...
So, I just appreciated the fact that you just reeled out this administration's achievements in the last 2 years. But I also said poor Nigerians are talking about hunger. Which matters most?
Well, again, when we speak about hunger, I believe things are getting better. Food prices have been dropping. They've been, in terms of the cost, they've been coming down. This is probably one of the few times in so many years that I've been alive in this country that you will not see an increase or a jack-up in the prices of food. On the contrary, we've seen a very stable, we passed through a Christmas celebration with very stable cost of stable food and all that. Rice, the bag of rice, they've been declining for months even before Christmas, and we maintain that all throughout. And not only rice, when you look at the price of tomatoes, and things that normally will skyrocket during Christmas, it's an indication that the president has gotten so many things right in the country. And unless those who want to deceive themselves, it's clear that this Christmas, even one of the very few Christmases that you will not see people queuing in petrol stations, you have to just give kudos to Mr. President and people working with them, for some of these achievements. Yeah.
Right. So, I asked that question because there's a growing perception, Senator, that the president's policies favor the elite, while poor Nigerians carry the burden. If not, why do lawmakers and government officials still enjoy luxury allowances amid all of these hardships? Shouldn't political office holders also make sacrifices? First, is this a fair assessment? Nigerians see politicians living comfortably, while citizens are consistently being told to tighten their belt. How can people believe this reform is fair? I mean, they're asking the question, is this truly shared sacrifice or selective suffering? But looking beyond all of these immediate challenges, what kind of economy is President Tinubu trying to build?
Well, I think it's a solid foundation for the future of this country. When you look at some of its policies, we are going to be having opportunities, in terms of the kind of vehicles that we drive, how much we pay for fuel. We have options of electric vehicles coming in. And I believe as a policy, Mr. President has put in some policies to ensure that if you come in and start manufacturing EV vehicles in Nigeria or you're importing, I think the custom duties is probably waived, you know. And for those on agricultural equipment, I believe, and some other manufacturing equipment, I believe the policies are there to assist the industrial growth of our country. When you look at the gas option, the conversion, you know, for vehicles, those who do not want to be able to pay high cost for fuel, they have the option. So Nigerians now have an option. Either you are using petrol and good enough. For the first time, I believe the Dangote refinery has done a lot of good for the country. We are now buying fuel for anything between maybe 750 to 850 or slightly more in some places. But those places where those prices are higher is the cost of transportation, you know, that is probably responsible. But by and large, I believe that the policies of Mr. President to ensure that Nigerians begin to enjoy in terms of economic prosperity and in terms of a future that will guarantee some level of employment. Building the small business entrepreneurs, ensuring that even those people who can hire 5 people, 10 people, 20 people, and now become the engine room for the prosperity of our country. I believe these are policies that can only come from somebody that has a lot of education and experience behind him. So for me, it's not, there is no time that there will be eradication of poverty in any nation. It might be, everybody will be striving towards that. And you can look at even America, as great as America is, we still have a lot of poor people. We have some people sleeping under the bridge. And even though attempts are being made to rehabilitate them, give them food and all manner of stuff, but for our own situation that we're in, I think I have always said, you know, in my mind, that President Tinubu is probably the most consequential president that we've had in our own generation. And I'm not shy to say that because I feel, I see so many things that would actually make the future better for us. Anybody that is hardworking in Nigeria has no problem, has no business being poor. And we've seen that demonstrated even, I mean, if you look at the entertainment industry, we have dominated. If you look at even the ICT, I want to say we're probably second to India. So many things are coming up. And the Minister of Communication has, you know, they're all doing their bits here and there. And if you look at the gentleman at immigration, I mean, the interior, you will see some development even in the issuance of passport.
All right, Senator.
So many of those areas. And
I want to take you up on the issue of taxation and your perspectives on the new tax laws. But quickly, you know, I've spoken with stakeholders on this program. Politicians who are not fans of the president and his party. And, you know, when you hear them talk about, reducing the cost of governance, which should, you know, be included in any form of reforms in the country. Clearly, Mr. President has implemented several measures aimed at reducing cost of governance in Nigeria. I mean, we're talking about costs to travel, security and official vehicle entitlement for top government officials. Still, some Nigerians are not impressed. Is there room for further reform in this area?
If I get you correctly, were you talking about the cost of travel locally or internationally? I didn't quite, the earphone wasn't too clear.
All right. All right. I would repeat, kindly hold on, Senator. I would repeat myself, but let's take this break. And when we return, we'll continue this conversation. So it gives us a chance to also sort all of these challenges. Thank you for staying with us, everyone. This is Politics Tonight. Tonight we're focused on the Tinubu agenda, reform reality, and the Nigerian people. Senator Ayo Arishe is on the program with me tonight, evaluating the economic and social impact of the Tinubu agenda. Senator, thank you very much for staying with us on the program. Quickly, before we talk about politics, taxation, and your perspectives on this new tax laws, should reforms have waited until safety nets were fully functional? And I'm asking simply because, whoever says this administration has not made efforts may be dishonest. But some Nigerians say we didn't feel it. It never got to us. We didn't know it ever existed. Perhaps it was for party members. Who takes responsibility for the gap between policy and reality? When citizens say they never felt these interventions, who should be held accountable? Is it Mr. President, the policymakers, implementing agencies, or state governors who have more money, or their citizens are saying, to what end?
Well, I could just make out a few things about I thought I was hearing something about tax, so I don't know why I'm having difficulties with this earpiece now. So, but the question is whether I really didn't get it. So,
let me repeat
if you
myself.
Can repeat that question.
Right, let me repeat myself.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that you hear me clearly this time. I was asking about safety nets and whether safety nets should have been functional before some of these reforms. And I also made reference to the fact that whoever says this administration has not made efforts may be dishonest. But some Nigerians say they didn't feel it. It's never got to them. They didn't know safety net ever existed. They say perhaps it was for party members. So I'm asking, who should take responsibility for the gap between policy and realities when citizens say they never felt some of these interventions?
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. I heard you clearly now. Well, again, in terms of safety nets, well, a few things were done to actually arrest a critical situation. But since that period, I believe this government has been putting things in place in terms of ensuring that every individual has a national identity number, and they are tying whatever government policy in terms of providing succor to the poor people. They are now able to determine and give directly to who those measures were geared towards in the first instance. So I think, yes, initially there were some gaps here and there because the primary thing in the mind of Mr. President was to ease in the burden. And a lot of, shouting about, oh, things are hard, this and that. So they had to reach out to start paying some money to some people who the poor of the poorest, and having that database in place initially was a challenge. But now that the database has kind of been filtered, to a significant level, and a larger number of Nigerians have been registered under the NIN enrollment, and I think, well, with the BVN, becoming or coming to a very large base, and some of those people who do not have bank accounts, they now have ways to ensure that once you have your NIN number, we're able to ensure that you get something. And some people were going around to ensure that those who don't have NIN numbers were given NIN numbers. So I think in terms of policies, yes, it's not every policy that the government thinks about that is going to happen overnight. Planning would have to be involved. Gathering the data will have to be involved. Some of these things do take some time. Otherwise, you will find out that you do not have a data that is reliable, or people will just put in all manner of junks in there. But I believe right now there's an opportunity for us to capture a sizable number of Nigerians. As a matter of fact, in the last 1-2 weeks, we're hearing that NIMSI is going to the ward level to enroll Nigerians, those who have not been captured, so that some of these government policies can actually go down to those that the policies were meant to benefit. I think, again, it's a question of when you see a policy, it takes a bit of time to implement. But the direction is that we are moving in the right direction to ensure that some of these associated problems are resolved, and in another year or two, when the president says, give this to the poor of the poor, you will know those that are really very poor. And they are getting it. It's not that somebody's hijacking it in between. So it's now going straight, to the beneficiaries. I think there has been some significant improvement in that area, maybe in the last 6 months. So, and it's an ongoing process, and it's never going to reach everybody at the same time. If it's not gotten to you now, by the time your data is captured and Nigerians know that you do exist, then whatever you're entitled to in terms of succor from the government would actually reach you. I know in the advanced economies, there is what we call food stamp that they give to the poor people. And in those places, just go to the post office, register, collect some form. They have a record of you. They know your residence, they know your phone number, and they will give these things across. In terms of food stamps, you go to the grocery stores and you take your benefits. Some people convert this thing to cash, and there are so many opportunities that I believe the government under this president is implementing to ensure that life gets better for every Nigerian. So for me, some of these things will not happen in 24 hours, but it's a gradual, it's a procedural thing. And I think we're on the right track in terms of taking care of our people, in this country.
Nigerians who are struggling, but want to believe these reforms would, at the end of the day, yield the positive results or lead us to a stronger and fairer economy. And let me quickly quote you. You said no country can survive without taxation. Those are your words. I mean, you of all people know that many Nigerians resist taxes because they don't see public value. But how can this government rebuild trust around taxation?
Well, again, it's not a problem of Nigeria alone. Most people they don't like paying taxes. Everybody would rather take all their profit and use it maybe for some social benefits or luxury vehicles or luxury living. But it's the little taxes that the government gathers, and the government is able to provide some of the amenities and facilities required, for us to survive. The roads, many of the roads in this country are totally deplorable. There is no question about that. But if we put all our budget on roads, how are we going to pay for hospitals? How do we do education? How do we do security? How do we do health? And for me, standing at a vantage position, I know that Nigeria really doesn't have money. We budgeted about 60-something trillion naira. When you change that to dollar, it's less than the budget of New York City, one city in America. So, and everybody gives, we have money. Even though we are losing some of the money that we do have in terms of management, in terms of people, in terms of some corruption, that nobody can actually pinpoint and say a president will be able to stop corruption overnight. No. It's by ensuring that when you take care of those little, the poor people in society, and they know that anybody taking their money is depriving them, then the people will begin to get up and challenge those in power. So when you look at it, generally, the people who do not want to pay taxes and who make the money, I believe this new tax regime is actually targeting those who can afford to pay taxes and are not paying. Because I believe corporate taxes is now at about 30%. But for those people making little money, I guess it's anything below 800,000 that is almost tax-free, you know. And those who begin to make millions, it's a graded type of taxation system. And we are not at 30%. This is not the worst that we can have. Okay. But I think, personally, I think 30% for corporate businesses is a little bit high, you know, for the fact that we are just going into understanding the importance of making people to pay taxes and corporate people to pay their taxes. Because if you look at President Trump, when he came, he was campaigning on tax. So he has brought maybe corporate tax to like about 27%. But when you go to some European countries, you see places where they charge as much as 40%. But for us, yes, the 30%, let's see how much of that we're able to rake in. And let's see how committed, you know, the business people are in terms of ensuring that they pay their taxes. And this is for the development of the country. And for us, if, for example, all these taxes are raked in, and you see a sign on the road that your tax money is working for you, and you see people tarring the road, not these people breaking blocks on the road, you know, but let the government ensure that they put that culture of maintenance. Any new road that is constructed, there must be a culture of maintenance. If we don't maintain them, we'll go back to where we were coming from. But I can see some concrete road. I mean, everybody's talking about the coastal road, which there's nobody who doesn't like anything that is good. And so we have to thank our president for that initiative. And we want to make that a standard for every road tarred in this country, so they can last 50, 100 years, you know, without having to worry about potholes.
And I'm sure you must agree with those who say accountability needs to rise, so tax compliance can also increase, so to speak. But let's talk about politics, Senator, because this same man you have described in glowing terms has some of his former contemporaries who have adopted ADC with just one agenda, which is to unseat him, spearheaded by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and former Senator David Mark, two men deeply entrenched in Nigeria's political history. These are two prominent figures who have been part of Nigeria's power structure for decades. What exactly is new about this coalition?
Well, I heard you talk about the ADC, and I heard Atiku and David Mark. Of course, without any question, these are Nigerians that have had their hand and the taste of power for so many years. And but as it is, for a long time to come, until the younger generation take over in terms of ability to acquire significant wealth, it costs a whole lot of money to be in politics and stay there. And it's not only here, you know, that politics costs money. I keep on referring to, So I'm going to your question about what is new. Was that your question?
Yes, what's new about this coalition?
The coalition.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And kindly hold on, sir. I'm asking because for former president of the Senate, David Mark was once a symbol of establishment stability. That's what some of his supporters have called him.
Yes.
What does his leadership in ADC signal to you?
Let me just say straight that I have said that the most consequential president we had in our generation is Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, our current president, for so many reasons. Because many of these people were in power, and even the issue of state police, that everybody knows is a necessity. Everybody has been dancing around it. People have not been able to have the courage. I've never heard from any president to say, we must have state police. The man knows what he's doing. And if we don't have state police, how are we going to curb all this kidnapping? People hiding in the bushes to apprehend people when they're traveling. If we have state police, the state and the CEO of the state will understand that without security, he cannot enjoy governance. And so, this president is doing something very different. But when you look at coalition, there will always be coalition. Because anybody that is in power would always have those ones who are not benefiting at that particular time to the level they expect. They will have to gather together and say, okay, these people, we must wrestle power from them. Either rightly or wrongly. That will continue. And it's the responsibility of the society to say, look, we have seen what this man is doing, and this is where we're going. And of course, I've witnessed a lot of cross-carpeting before, but I've never seen anything, at the scale that we're seeing in Nigeria today. And when you look at, what is happening, they are just saying, yes, we know this ADC is there. We know, which is the other one, PDP is there. But we're all going to APC because we see some future in the direction that the president is leading the nation. And almost every one of them is coming. And they are coming to say, I want to be a part of the future of greatness of this country. Now, and for me, when you look at Singapore, the former president, it's not as if they do not desire multiple parties. But they saw what the man was doing, the way he transformed Singapore, and everybody started queuing that, okay, this is what we want to see happening in terms of growth and development. So if people are, moving in and they are coming into APC, I cannot see any precedent that people will be saying, okay, I like what you are doing, I'm coming to your party. And we say, no, I don't want to have a one-party state. So please go and stay at your corner. It's difficult. So, but the moment those people are, yes, they will make an attempt. So I don't have any issues with people gathering together to say. Right,
so we'll come to defection in a moment. Let's stay on this, Senator. And this is the issue of coalition and the ADC. My question is, why do you think former allies of the president are now united against him? I mean, yesterday, former special advisor to the president on political matters, I'm talking about Hakeem Baba Ahmed, said the president's record on the economy and security is very poor. Would this alliance exist if President Tinubu's policies benefited them personally?
Well, I might admit that people are entitled to different opinions. I was a victim of kidnapping in 2017, and President Tinubu was not president at that time. And there have been history of kidnapping in this country. It got to a point that even some people who have been kidnapped have been killed. So it's unfortunate that that ailment in our society, we've not been able to cure it. But I believe it's reducing in terms of occurrence. Apart from, the latest round of people abducting people in churches and all that. Now, security is a responsibility of everybody. And because of the challenge that the sheer size of this country poses, some people have been able to insist on that single structure policing for how many years? Several years. And the president said, okay, part of the ways to resolve this is I want the National Assembly to assist in coming up with the amendment to some sections of the Constitution in terms national police, so that even the local governments can have their own policing system. The university system in America, they have their own police. So does the cities. So you look at it that what is so difficult? We have copied a presidential system of governance. So why are we copying part and leaving those things that will make that structure work? We're leaving them out. So if the president has recognized the fact that this is how I can be helped to reduce these things, then let us begin to move in that direction. Let the governors take control of the policing in their states. I've heard comments that some of them will abuse it. Of course, let them abuse it. When they leave government, people will take them to court. Some of them, if they are messed up, they will pay the price. You know, it's not a permanent situation. So, and I look at it that if anybody has a solution, because this is our country, let the person come up and give us solutions to Mr. President, apart from what he's doing now. He has changed the security infrastructure. We now have General Musa now heading the Ministry of Defense. We have Oluyede as the Chief of Defense Staff. So he has been able to put in some new colorations, some new dynamics, and some, new, what you say, purposeful things. People are focusing on security. But unfortunately, we do not have the money to fund security and put all the money on security alone. To buy only one fighter jet, we know what it costs. So if we continue to improve on our oil production, if we're able to go to maybe like 3 million barrels a day, for example, then we'll start enjoying some new sources of revenue to pay for some of these challenges that this country is facing. It's a huge country. And a lot of people are very good at sitting back and say, they can criticize this, criticize that. Yes, it's their opinion and it's their level of understanding. Because governance is not a tea party. When you look at, I'll be wondering, luckily Mr. President hardly sleeps, so he's already used to that kind of work ethics. So, but let people understand that there is no president that will sit and be comfortable when there are security challenges in the country. So I believe he's putting the very best effort, which I know some of these people have had a chance. And what did they do? So the question we keep on asking ourselves is that, are we criticizing so that we can take some benefit from disrupting the government, or we just want to replace, or we really have something better that we can do? So that solution they have, let them put it on the table.
All right.
This is our country. I'm sure the president will look at it, and anyone that is good, that's reasonable, he will follow up on it.
And at the same time, you have clearly insinuated that there is no opposition to the victory of this administration in 2027. Let's talk about party politics, Senator. There was a new development in the APC. Top leaders of your party have ruled out automatic tickets to governors who have just joined the party. First, what is the rationale behind this decision and why now?
Well, I guess, incidentally, I'm not an advisor to Mr. President, but if he's able to hear, I think to say that somebody will leave his party and bring a governorship ticket to another party, you deny that person the seat. I don't know how practicable that will be. I won't do that. I won't sign such, a letter with anybody or agreement with anybody. If a person is doing well, and we recognize that this person is doing well, is fit to be a member of our party, yes, it does not mean that others cannot contest. But from what we have seen in this country, how many people have been able to defeat an incumbent governor in any primary election? So I don't know of one. It's very difficult. So if they say that, if that's what the party wants, yes, it's okay, but I think it's the party is doing so well, and everybody is coming. We should not create a situation whereby people start getting jittery, you know, on one side.
Or leaving the
party. It does not mean that everybody, yes, it doesn't mean that every governor that is coming is that there are some peculiar cases that you know that even without saying that, some people will still come out and challenge. And if they're able to succeed in defeating the incumbent in the primary election, primary is different from general election. The primary is very difficult for you. As a matter of fact, when a person is in your party and is the governor of your party, you know, governor representing your party, it is not tactical to run against that person because he's the leader of the party in the state.
Absolutely.
And so that is why when you have to wait until the man is leaving before you say, okay, from the same party I want to run you out of business.
Quickly, Senator, could this new policy be about protecting the interest of Minister Nyesom Wike? Again, I mean, why now? When Governor Fubara just joined the party. And allow me to think like Governor Fubara for a minute. It was in a party practically controlled by his godfather, whom at the moment is upset with him, entirely fractured relationship. His godfather, as it looks, controls both the leadership of the APC and the PDP at the state level. The same godfather is one of Mr. President's favorites. And, you know, he continues to boast and tell Nigerians and your party that for 15 years, APC was not able to secure River State until Wike, who has the Joker card, decided to help APC. And realistically, the APC would not want to jeopardize that for a first-time governor like Governor Fubara. Is that what is happening? In terms of Fubara-Wike's scenario, it's a very difficult situation. I think they have to find a way of settling in the interest of their state. Again, when it comes to party politics, the godfather is a very deft politician, and he has a very big wallet, you know. And so because of that, he might find some challenges in the primaries. Do you think the president should intervene one more time?
Should he do one more time?
Intervene one more time,
again,
the president.
Should the president do what?
Intervene one more time.
Oh, intervene. Oh, of course. Obviously, the president will have to settle because this is, apart from the fact that he's the leader of the party nationally, this is an APC governor and an APC minister, you know, at each other's throat.
All right,
so he will have to come in and settle the matter, you know, once and for all.
All right, Senator.
For the two of them.
Great conversation. Thank you so much for speaking with us tonight, and I look forward to more conversations with you. Senator Ayo Arishe, former Senator, Ekiti North Senatorial District, APC Chieftain. Thank you so much for your time. Please have a great evening.
Thank you very much. Nice speaking with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But before we go, let's tell you that the views and reactions of our resource persons are theirs and have no connection with TVC News. And while you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode at 12:30 a.m., get in touch with us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC News NG and at Olajumo Kedebu using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News NG. I am Olajumo Kedebu. Good night, everyone. I'll see you again tomorrow. Good night.
In a world